their hearts towards one another. So they will act like they're friends. This is one of the signs of the end times. They'll act like they're your friends, but really inside they'll harbor hatred and animosity towards you. We see this a lot of times where they'll smile in our faces and pretend to be very nice to us, but as soon as we get away, they start talking to everyone else about us. This is one of the signs of the end of times and the hur, or the reappearance of the Imam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And we don't want to be in this type of category of people that are bad friends, that hold animosity against each other or grudges against each other. We see some people, some places, they take pride in how long they've held the grudge against each other. They say, oh, I haven't talked to him in 40 years. And they go to the same place and don't talk to each other. They want to see how long they can hold that grudge. But it's not good to hold a grudge against each other. And this is why we always say this dua that it's mentioned in the Holy Quran. I've been saying it since I've been here. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. So Allah tells us to pray for those other believers that went before us, so that way we have compassion towards them. We don't hold any animosity towards them, and we ask Allah to remove the ill will or the bad feelings we have for each other, take it out of our hearts for the believers. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he said that when the friends are counted, they're large in number. You find them large in number, but the friends who come to your aid or help you in the time of need is very few. So we can think about this. We see it every day. How many people do we consider to be our friends, for example? And then think about that number, and then think about how many of those people would actually come and help you if you really needed it. In a crisis situation, emergency, your tire went flat on the highway and you need to call somebody. How many of those, let's say 100 friends, how many of those would come and help you and drop everything at that moment and come to you? So we see this every day, that a lot of people claim to be our true friends or claim friendship with us, but there's only a few that we can find that we can actually depend on in a crisis situation. A lot of us think we have 5,000 Facebook friends. MashaAllah, we have 5,000 friends. But these 5,000 friends, are they really our friends? Are they really going to come help us in our time of need? As the Imam says, they're a lot in number when you look at it, but when you need them, there are very few of them. So I'm bringing all of this because we're talking about treasuring the friendship of our brother and sister in faith. We have to treasure good friends when we find them and really appreciate them. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam said, a friend cannot be considered to be a true friend unless he's tested on 3 occasions. So they have to pass this test of three occasions to be considered a true friend. The first one is in the time of need. When you need them, do they come and help you? If they pass this is one of the tests. Second one is behind your back. And the third one is after your death. So in order to be considered a true friend, we need to be there for each other in times of need. We have to be dependable. We have to be trustworthy. Like Allah calls us, we're believers, and He always calls us, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, O you who are trustworthy. We have to be dependable. Secondly, He said, one of the tests is behind your back. So we have to be there for each other also in the times of the absence, by defending the rights and the honor of your brother or sister in faith. Even when they're not present, we have to still be their friend in their absence. If someone's backbiting them, we defend them. We're still their friend and we honor them, and we still honor their friendship even when they're not present with us. Lastly, he said, after your death. So true quality of friendship, or quality of true friendship, is to be there for them after their death. So how do we do that? We make arrangements for their funerals. We attend their funeral prayers. We pray for them even after their death. We say Fatiha for them. Every year, annually, we hold majalis in their name. This is still being a good friend after their death. Imagine if you had a very good friend and he passed away, and then every year you still remembered him by organizing a majalis and had everyone pray for them. This is a sign of true friendship for someone, because they didn't forget you after their death. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So how do we deal with each other, socially interact with friends? I was looking in the narrations and we see that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, when a man comes to see you, when someone comes to see you, ask him his name and where he lives, where does he stay? And asking these type of questions will build some friendship between you. They said it will help foster friendship, because we have to get to know one another. We have to know each other. We have to ask questions about each other and about their background and about your interests, and we get to know one another, and this makes us closer. Find out where they're from, where they live, what do you do, what's your name, and so these type of things. So these type of things help us get closer to each other. This is going one extra step than just saying the salam. We start engage in conversation to find out what our brother or sister, what do they like to do in their spare time. Maybe I like to do the same thing, and we go do activities together or something like this. So the Prophet also said 3 things will prove your friendship to your Muslim brother: welcoming him warmly, making room for him in meetings when he arrives, and calling him by his dearest name. So we should always welcome our brother or sister in faith. We should always welcome them. And we should always call them by nice names that they like, such as their kunya, for example. Someone has a son named Ali, call him Ya Abu Ali, or Ya Abu Muhammad, Abu Zahra, these type of things. It's an endearing term. It's more than just calling them by their name. It's calling them by their kunya, something special, that you know that they have a child and you know about their family, and you call them by that name. Also, we call each other by names a lot. Sometimes you hear these a whole lot. Ya Habibi, Ya Azizi, Ya John, and these type of names. Because these are something that it's endearing to one another. It shows that you care about the other person. So these type of things is what the Prophet is saying that will prove your friendship to each other. Because you're showing that you care about each other. You're saying, Ya Habibi, your beloved, that you have love for them, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, salawat Muhammad. He's saying one of the things and how we socially interact with each other, a good thing to do, he said shaking hands is the perfect greeting for the resident, or the one that lives near. You see them all the time, we shake hands. And for the traveler, the one that you haven't seen in a while, to embrace him. He said, give them a hug. This is the perfect greeting of the traveler. So we should shake each other's hands and embrace each other, and when we see each other, and this fosters the love of friendship. He said, shaking hands with a believer, shaking hands, something seems very simple. Shaking hands with the other has 1,000 rewards. SubhanAllah. Allah makes it easy for us. We just have to shake another believer's hand, we get 1,000 thawab. We do one sin, we get the sin of one sin. But we do one good deed like this, 1,000 reward. He makes it easy for us. Imam Baqir alayhi salam, he said, respect your friends and consider them to be honorable, and do not interfere with one another in an impolite manner. So we're friends, but we should never let the veil of respect be torn between each other, because this leads to rupturing the friendship. So we should avoid joking with each other in an impolite or rude manner. We shouldn't be rude to each other or even in a joking way, because when you rip this veil of respect and you don't have respect for each other anymore, this ruptures the friendship. So we should always have a respect and honor for our brother or sister in faith. So friends, we're talking about honoring or treasuring the friendship of our brother or sister in faith. We have to look at who we take as our friends, because friends are very influential in our life. They make an impact. And this is especially true for the youth. It's for everyone, but especially the youth. We have a beautiful narration, a gem from our ninth Imam, Imam Jawad, alayhi salam. He said, beware of the company of the evil person, since he's like a sword. He said the sword is apparently beautiful looking. The sword looks so beautiful, but its effect is bad because it can shed blood in the way of falsehood. So people are heavily influenced by their friends and the company that they keep. Like this sword, someone might appear very good, but then we don't know about them, and then it could be very dangerous for us. So they can either influence or motivate us to do good, or they can drag one down to do all sorts of haram and different crimes. How many times have you seen people, they've been arrested, you never would have thought they would have done such a thing, and they didn't even think they could do such a thing. And when they asked them, why did you do it? They said, oh, my friends, they put me up to it. My friends influenced me. And they had peer pressure. They were influenced by their friends. They would have never done that on their own, but they got caught up in the moment and all their friends were doing it, so they went along and did it too. So it's a serious issue with youth, this peer pressure, and they have to figure out how to deal with it. They should be equipped. They should be well equipped with the tools to deal with it, which are the knowledge of Islam and the narrations of the infallible Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salam. So this way, when they come across these situations, they're going to know how to handle it. And they'll know how to counteract these types of things and use it to influence other people and to make good decisions instead of the bad decisions. When people come to them with bad decisions, and they know narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salam, they might be able to even turn those people from doing the bad action into doing something good and leaving that action. And they'll prevent themselves from making bad decisions that could ruin their life, for example. So all that being said, we have to look at choosing our friends wisely and what type of friends we choose. So, who should we not be friends with? For example, we know that we need to have good friends. We need to we know the importance of choosing friends. We have to choose good friends. But who should we not befriend? Imam Bakr, alayhi salam. He warned us of befriending certain types of groups of people as friends. He said, do not approach or make friends with the fools, the misers or the stingy people, the cowards or the liars. Because he said fools will harm you instead of benefiting you. Sometimes they think they're benefiting you, but they're actually harming you. Misers will take things from you and they won't give you anything in return when you need it. Cowards will run away from you in the time that you need help. And liars will testify, but they won't tell the truth. So we should do our utmost to examine people when we want to be friends with them and see what type of people they are and make sure that they don't have these negative qualities that the Imam is mentioning. So that way we're not harmed by their negative effects. So these are the people who we should not befriend. So let's look at who we should take as friends. This is very important because when we look at these type of qualities, we know who the true friends are and who we should take as true friends. So are there any narrations for this is what came in my mind. Let me think and let me search for narrations about what type of criteria should someone meet to be considered a true friend. So the Prophet is talking about something that happened with Nabi Isa, Prophet Jesus, alayhi salam. Prophet Jesus was saying to his disciples, he said, they asked him about who should our friends be. So he told them, sit with someone or keep company with them, be friends with these type of people. The one who, when you see him, it makes you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His logic adds to your knowledge, and his practice makes you inclined for the hereafter. So from this narration, we see that acquiring friends, we should look for these type of qualities in a friend. Someone who reminds you of Allah, someone who of his religion and also of the hereafter. We benefit from their knowledge, and we see them, they remind you of something. They give you some good advice about what we're talking about. They give you good advice. It reminds you of your religion and of the hereafter. So it's very important to have God-conscious friends, or friends who have taqwa, because they'll remind each other whenever we get distracted. We might get in a situation and let's say we start to drift off a little too far off to the right or to the left. We're supposed to be on Sirat al-Mustaqim. We start to drift a little bit. These good friends will remind you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, remind you of narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, remind you of your akhirah, and they'll pull you back to where we're supposed to be at, on Sirat al-Mustaqim. We also see in another narration from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, he said the best type of friends are those who help you when you mention a matter and remind you when you forget something. So whenever we start to slip or go off track, they say something to remind us and bring us back. They don't ignore us and what we're doing and let us go astray. They bring us back. The second thing we can learn from this is that we should look for friends who like to discuss beneficial things. They like to discuss knowledge of Islam. They like to discuss ayats from Quran. They like to discuss narrations and stories of Ahlul Bayt. And they like to discuss things about religion and other beneficial things in other fields of knowledge as well. So we should strive to acquire these type of friends who like to talk about meaningful things, not just sitting around talking about gossip and backbiting and other things that are useless. They like to sit and talk about beneficial things. So when we sit with them, our knowledge increases and their knowledge increases. We share knowledge when we sit down and we talk and we benefit each other. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
The third thing we can benefit from that narration is that we should seek to befriend those whose actions inspire us to be better people, and they inspire us to work towards securing our hereafter. When we see them, what they're doing, they give us inspiration to keep working in the path of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
He said, anyone who becomes friends with someone else, fi sabilillah, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will attain a rank in Jannah. So just becoming friends with somebody on the basis that you both believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this pure friendship, sincere friendship, will gain you a spot in paradise, inshallah. So from this we see the importance, and that we see it's a key quality in becoming friends is for the right reasons. We have to have the right reasons for becoming friends with one another. People usually become friends on some sort of mutual benefit that they get. I get a benefit from being your friend for whatever type of benefit, worldly benefit, maybe you get free season tickets to the basketball game or baseball game, so I'm your friend, so I get these tickets. They have some sort of benefit. They look for something they can benefit from you, and you can benefit from them. But it shouldn't be, seeking friends shouldn't be for material things or political positions or status or wealth or these type of worldly things, because these things are useless in the end. We should be friends with each other with a solid foundation, which will be true friendship. And friendship is based on sincerity and based on the mutual love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, love of Prophet, and love of Ahlul Bayt alayhi wassalam. So we have a narration where Imam Sadiq alayhi salam outlines the limits of friendship. He said, whoever does not fall within these limits should not be considered a perfect friend. And whoever doesn't have anything from these qualities within these limits should not be ascribed anything related to friendship. So if they don't have any of these, they're not considered a friend at all. If they don't have all of them, they're not considered a perfect friend. So when we look at these, he says the conditions for friendship are: a friend should not hide anything from you and will be the same to you in private as he is in public. He doesn't change. He's your friend regardless of whatever happens, in private and in public. And if he can help you, he helps you. He doesn't hide anything from you. The second thing, he should consider your positive characteristics as his own and your negative characteristics as his own. So if he sees something negative in you, he should consider that affecting himself too. It should bother him that he should try to help you as he would help himself overcome these negative characteristics. The Imam said wealth and position should not change him, should not change his friendship. If he gets a high status or he gets a lot of money, now he's not your friend anymore because he moved up on the totem pole, as they say. He got to a higher status. He got a new position at his job, and now he's the president or CEO. Now he doesn't have time for you anymore. This is not how friends are. He should not withhold from you what he has power over. So if he has power over something that can help you, he shouldn't withhold it from you. And the last one, the Imam said he should not abandon you during times of hardship. Should always be there for a brother and sister in faith, no matter what they're going through, because life has ups and downs. Sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't. Sometimes our bank account looks nice, other times our bank account is negative. It's the way life goes. Things come and go. We shouldn't base our friendship on material things. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he also described the true friend when he was advising his companion Kumail, that we know from Dua Kumail. Imam said, who is your true brotherly friend? He is the one who doesn't disappoint you in misfortunes. He doesn't leave you alone in times of trouble and sins. He doesn't wait until you ask him for help and doesn't let you inform him of your problems. This is a true brother or sister in faith. They have these qualities. They don't disappoint us. They're always there for us. They don't leave us alone in times of trouble. They always try to solve each other's problems. They want to make life better for the other person. He said, Ya Kumail, the believers should be mirrors of each other. When they look at each other, they should meet the needs and settle the problems. Ya Kumail, the believers are brothers. Brothers should never prefer anything to each other. As Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, a believer is the brother of a believer. He is his eye and he is his guide. We help each other. This is a quality of friendship. We're each other's eye and we each other's guide. He also said, the most favorable or favorite friend of mine is he who shows me my flaws. This is a characteristic of a true friend. They're not going to hide your flaws from you. They're going to tell you about them, like we talked about last night, and giving good advice to each other. They see that you need help in an area. They're not going to ignore it. They're going to say, you know, you're my friend. I'm going to tell you in a good way. Don't be offended, but I think I can help you in this thing. something that you have a flaw. They'll tell them about it and say, I think you could do this thing a little bit better if you I give you a suggestion, for example, and advise them sincerely. So imagine, all these wonderful qualities that we have that Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salam have instructed us to look for in becoming good friends. So we have to help, we have to look for these and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help in finding true friends like this. Because as we said in the beginning, the Prophet said during the end times that two most uncommon things to find will be a true and sincere friend and a legally earned dirham or money. So it's very hard to find good friends in these times. And we see all of these qualities. They have to tick these boxes, for example, when we look for friends. And then we have to look at our friendship and our relationship with other people. Do we meet these qualities with our friends? And if we don't, we need to start trying to work on them. So the right of the believer that we're discussing tonight, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Is treasuring the friendship of our brothers and sisters in faith. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he said in Nahj al-Balagha, unfortunate is the one who cannot gain a few sincere friends during his lifetime, but more unfortunate than this is one who found them and he lost them through his deeds. It's hard enough, Imam is saying, it's hard enough to find good friends. When you find them, don't run them away with bad akhlaq. Don't treat them bad and run them away. We have to behave good with them, just like we'd want them to behave with us. We wouldn't want to run them away with bad behavior. So we have to look at how we treat our friends and treasure our friends, because when we find them, it's like finding a gem. And we have to honor them and respect them. Imam Ali went on to say, if you consider a person to be your friend, don't dispute with him. Don't be hostile to him. Don't ridicule your friend. Don't quarrel with him. Don't make indecent jokes with him. Don't hold him in contempt or consider him to be low. And don't claim to be higher than him. Don't do these type of things. We would run away our friends if we had this. We had friends that had all of those bad characteristics. Who would need enemies, right? We have to be good with our friends and honor them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the ability to secure and find these sincere friends for His sake. We ask that He helps us and protects us from acquiring that evil friend that Imam Jawad alayhi salam described as a sword, which deceives one by its beauty, but in reality can lead to destruction. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He grants us true and sincere friends whom we consider as our brothers in faith that are united under the banner of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ربنا اغفر لنا والإخوان الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا الذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. O Lord, forgive us and our brothers who preceded us in faith and remove any ill will that we have in our hearts against the believers. Ya Lord, O Lord, you are the compassionate and the merciful. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه فهذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكناه أرضك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.